Well, hello. Good to see you again. Welcome to the 2012fad.com. I'll be your host for this evening, and my name is Charlie Bluehawk. Last night, we talked about the Lily effect, the Lily wave, the fact that your TV is against you, and how our masters know the truly brilliant work of Dr. John C. Lilly from way back in the 1940s, when he discovered how to use sound and waves and vibrations to map the various parts of the human brain, and how to turn off parts of the human brain, which allow you to be programmed without your consent or your knowledge. Mostly by the TV set, but now even today with the electrical current running through your house. Tonight, I thought we would chat about evil always wins, and what I have observed in 40 years of actively standing against the horrors I've seen, and why today, after being beaten up by the very people I was trying to help, I've given up, and I'll be running for the hills as fast as I can. And you ask me, why am I running now? Well, it's pretty simple. The war is over, and we lost. The problem is our masters have lost too, but they themselves are also programmed, just the way we are. And they're so programmed, our masters, they're set in their ways, and they can't see it. They can't see a way out, even if they would look for one. It seems to me that our masters were not so much trying to win a war, rather to fight a holding action. To hold us just long enough to distract us while they chipped away at our rights, our minds, our souls. Just long enough for the event to distract us, and then for their great work to burn us all with their harp stations, along with all the life on the earth. Burn us all into a cinder, which will summon back their true god, Satan, to sit on the throne of earth. And as we always talk about, it doesn't matter if Satan is real, or if God is real or not, or which God you believe in. It doesn't matter, because our masters believe it. And that's all we need to be concerned about, what they believe. Because they act on what they believe. It's their religion. But let's look at our master's overall strategy, or at least what we can see of it. Now, we've chatted in the past about how all the foods we eat at the mainstream chain supermarkets are filled with plastics and poisons. And we've chatted about how eating at McDonald's is like feasting on very tasty plastics and poisons. They are very tasty. Yeah, wonderful foods, wonderful taste. Destroy your body, destroy your mind, but it tastes great. And about how your body becomes so bloated and disgusting as your body actually desperately tries to find some nutritional value in all the plastics you've swallowed. Well, your body's trying to keep you alive. Now, why would anybody do that to us? Why? Because it's very deliberate. It's very obviously deliberate, but why? Remember the rule. Poison the body, poison the mind. There are many, many programs like this going on. There's so many, we couldn't possibly cover it in one episode here today, or even a couple of dozen. But let's try to hit a few while we're here. What the heck? They read our mail. That's pretty basic. Benjamin Franklin, the so-called great American patriot, was the first postmaster of the United States. And he wasn't doing this as a public service. He did it so he could read all of our mail. Now, the U.S. Postal Service, and by the way, the U.S. Postal Service is not the U.S. Post Office. The U.S. Post Office basically has 5 employees left who are government employees. The U.S. Postal Service, which we have today, is another privately owned offshore corporation. And they've been reading our mail, all of our mail, with machines that can actually look through the envelopes, read handwritten letters, and leave no trace. And they've been doing that since the 1950s. They listen to our telephone calls. The U.S. government has had this technology again since the 1950s to listen to all of our telephone conversations. In fact, telephones, the old-fashioned ones with the dial and the newfangled ones with the push buttons, They're also listening devices. Even when the phone is on the cradle, it still can listen to the room. So you're being spied on from your telephone in your house. Today, your cell phone is a 24/7 listening device, tracking device, and microwave generator that's cooking your body. Even when you turn it off, your cell phone is still on. It's still working. It's still running. And when you press that cell phone against your body becomes an antenna because your body is 97% water. You become a microwave oven. And it can listen to you even when it's off, and it can track you wherever you are. As long as that battery is charged and that phone is off, it's on. Watching us on TV. The new high-definition TV screens that are really cool and really slick, and your games look really great on them, and movies play great, all of them have built-in cameras in the screens themselves. So you don't even know they're there. But they can see you, especially when you're plugged into the cable. Some companies, Microsoft of course for one, have already admitted that the cameras are there and that they are part of their game programs. Again, look this up on the web. You don't need me for this. Google, and I love this, Google got caught spying on private conversations on your computer. Because when you have a computer with a built-in camera and a built-in microphone and you're running Microsoft products, that video camera and your microphone are always on, and they're always listening, they're always recording. Now, the excuse that Google gave when they got caught, and they did get caught, the excuse they gave was that they wanted to hear what was being discussed in your room, what you were talking about, so that their software can automatically change the display advertising on Google page that you were on that might be interesting to you based on the conversation you were currently having. This is happening now. When you're in front of your computer, there's a camera built into the screen. It's watching you. When you're sitting in front of the computer, it's got a microphone. It's listening to you. That's it. It's not that hard. And they store all this data. Why, how on earth they store all this data is beyond me. But there's enough programs out there. I mean, they've been listening to our phone conversations since the 50s. And they're searching for keywords. Of course, they're reading our emails and reading our hard drives, too. Because of the built-in wireless on, PCs and laptops, it's now possible to park a van down the street from your house to steal all your data directly off your hard drive, and you'll never know it. And every time you use a commercial email account, Yahoo, Hotmail, Gmail, read the agreement that you click OK on. They own everything in your email. They read your emails too. Again, that's a Microsoft/CIA company. Read the agreement you signed with Yahoo, Hotmail, Gmail. If you read the agreement, it states in there that they own the copyright on every word you write in your own emails. You've given away all of your rights by using their quote-unquote free service. So what? What's the big deal? To what end is this? Why not just drop a couple of nuclear bombs in the United States, just like, Dick Cheney wanted to do, to keep little King George V, George Bush, on the throne of the White House? Just, that would be a lot easier than all this other, spy crap. Well, our masters have a problem, one of many, because China now owns most of the United States. They bought our bonds, our hedge funds, and they now pretty much own us outright. And you really don't want to upset the landlord who owns you, especially if that landlord, China, can raise a standing army of 5 million soldiers in one afternoon. Because our masters need to keep us stupid, frightened, ignorant, and broken until they're, ready to burn the earth, which is just, like moments before the dead brown dwarf star flips the earth end for end. They're busy. They've got their hands full. But again, there are too many variables. There's too many human beings in the process for me to actually believe that our masters can pull off the burning of the surface of the earth with their harp stations. I'm just not too terribly worried about that. But it's their part of their great work, so we need to talk about it so so you can decide for yourself. And you know what? I have even more doubts about their god, Satan, if Satan does indeed exist. If Satan would be dumb enough to fall for their plan, which is, of course, to lure her back to the earth, put her on the throne of earth, capture her, throw her down, and, take her place and make themselves gods. I mean, if Satan exists, if Lucifer is real, she's been around for millions of years. I'm sure she's still looking fabulous. Don't hurt me. I'm just guessing that she's slightly smarter than we are. But then, why does evil always win? That's easy. Because they'll do anything, including sacrificing their own kind to achieve their great work. For example, or a good example of this is, like we talked about earlier, our masters will take 3 steps forward. We realize what they're doing. We, knock them in the teeth, and they take 2 steps back. They're still thrilled because they've already gained 1 step on us, and we never noticed. Part of the plan. Our masters will do anything, even if it costs them billions of dollars and dozens of their own kind, to gain that 1 extra step on us. So our masters gained 1 foot by sacrificing everything and anyone they had to. I saw the low-end version of this kind of behavior in my 3 tragic years in New Zealand. The average New Zealander of today is a frightened, terrified, completely lost soul. Why? Well, it's pretty easy once you understand it. Because for the last 40 years, the best and the brightest people born in New Zealand have fled the country as soon as they were able to. Originally, they just left New Zealand to get better pay. But now, New Zealanders coming up, get to be 19, 20, realize, oh my God, there's no future here, and boy, these people are vicious and cruel. Now New Zealanders are fleeing the country for not only better pay, but far better treatment overseas. Brutality like you would not believe. And I grew up in Hollywood. I thought I'd seen brutality, but no. The New Zealanders have far outstripped Hollywood in just sheer levels of madness. And so, let me ask you this. If the best and the brightest of your people leave your country, never to return, who does that leave behind? The moron. Our friend, the moron. And so today, the country of New Zealand is controlled by morons. Living in New Zealand is a nightmare, and not just for foreigners. They're airdropping poisons into the forest, even as we speak, to get rid of, raccoons or mongooses or something. I forget why they're doing this. It's like ludicrous. They poison their land. They poison their waters. In fact, the fresh drinking water, quote unquote, that comes out of the tap in Wellington today is so polluted that it will actually burn your skin. I met one woman, a New Zealander, living in Wellington, owned her own home. She could not take a shower in her own home because the water coming out of the faucet burned her skin on contact. And New Zealand is a wonderful example of mind control in action. As I said, I've never seen so many program responses in my life. And again, I grew up in Hollywood. But the one thing that amazed me over and over again, beyond all of this, is the fact that the average New Zealander was willing to destroy themselves, their family, their country, just to get even with a foreigner, or just to get even with another New Zealander. They were willing to destroy themselves just to teach you a lesson. And it's that type of hysterical gibbering, and I have never used the word gibbering in a sentence before arriving in New Zealand. This gibbering madness, that is the defining characteristic of our masters. They will do anything, including destroying themselves, just to get even with us. Now, What I can't figure out is what we ever did to our masters for them to feel that they ever had a need to get even with us. That's a mystery I can't answer. I don't know. But remember what we talked about in a previous episode about the Satan worshippers I've met, who have dedicated themselves to serving Satan in this world, and then dying in her name, going to serve her in hell. And yes, Satan, Lucifer, is female, but then again, so is God, but, we'll leave that for a story for another day. So yes, evil always wins, because they'll do anything to win. That is why I came up with the idea of the village. We're a few, and I'm sorry, a painful few. Good, genuinely decent human beings can live safely, happily, comfortably together, while the Earth goes through her regular 32,000-year cycle, flipping end for end, then being dry cleaned by planetary lightning, and then being reborn for us. And I really hope to see you there on the flip side. I really do. For all of us here at the 2012 Fad, this has been Charlie Bluehawk, wishing you a really good day, and reminding you to please keep that one good thought. The 2012 Fad is brought to you by Coffee and Blood, Love Letters Between the Dead, a series of 5 erotica horror novels about a fallen angel finding his way back to regain his own soul, and how the CIA war against the human race, their black magic, captures and traps him in the body of a mind-controlled slave designed to hunt down and to kill their god, their Satan.